wow, it's just amazing that we've never known each other, and I wonder who they are. And this image popped into my head, and it was this image of it was the ending of the movie. It was these two people, watching themselves as children on this film, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what the image meant. I had no idea how to get there or even who those people were, but I knew that it was the ending. And it just struck me as a very powerful moment, and I didn't think much of it, and I went to a party that night, and I walked in, and a woman walked up to me and said, "I'm your sister." And wow. It was a sign, I guess, and I think I was in shock for a couple days, and then we got to...
You didn't throw anything at her, though, did you?
No. There was no throwing of objects. But it kind of cracked my life open, and it took 7 years to write this and sort of work through all of it, and the movie that you see, I think, is very reflective of a lot of things that I went through, and some things that were invented for the drama of the movie, but yeah.
That's terrific. And it's a wonderful cast. I mean, first of all, it's nice to see Michelle Pfeiffer looking gorgeous, but more importantly, portraying this role, and it's a tricky role, particularly at the end, or near the end of the movie, and just talk about getting her to sign on. I'm sure once you read the script that was it, but I'm sure that was an interesting meeting, shall we say, to get her to come on board.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I knew about Lillian was that she was going to be a mystery for a while, and I wanted the audience to be wondering what's going on with this woman, and that as the layers were peeled back, you come to understand what's really going on with her and what she's been protecting, and it isn't really until that final scene that you understand that she really felt that she was protecting her child, and it's been very interesting to me to see mothers react to it, because pretty unilaterally, when I say, "So how did you feel about Lillian?" they all said, "I would have done the same thing." And and it was obviously a super controversial decision, and a lot of the movie is about the price tag of that decision, and that is what the movie's about. But I knew that in order for it to work, you needed an actress who was going to be able to give you this rainbow of emotions and ultimately be really tough and firm and believable in having made such a tough decision, but see it break down along the way. And the idea that Michelle Pfeiffer would even be around me, let alone in a movie that I directed, was insane, is what it was. And when her agent called and said, "I have some news for you, Michelle Pfeiffer's interested," I was like, "Come on, give me a break." No. No, she wants to...
The Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah, she wants to meet you. And I said, "I don't know if I can do that." But we did meet.
These boyhood fantasies going back.
Yeah, they were. And, it was such a huge fan. And so we sat down, and literally in 1 minute, I was like, "This is it. This is the person." And she was very protective of the character, and I think she was so open to being, look, Michelle Pfeiffer has been known almost her whole life as one of the most beautiful women in the world, and what I said to her was, look, we have to be very truthful and honest about the experience of this woman probably hasn't put on makeup in a year. She's been sitting by her dying husband's side, and when we first meet her in the movie, that's where she's at. And if we're too glamorous in this portrayal, I think it'll ring totally false. And she said, "I'm with you 100%. Like me however you want. Put on as much or as little makeup as you want." And I said, "You realize people are going to think you're more beautiful now because you're so real." We were just having this conversation in the car that the LA that I see in movies, the Hollywood sign, and Man's Chinese Theater, and Beverly, it's not really the LA that I think people who are from LA feel is. First of all, you've just seen it so many times. So I felt like I wanted to show the LA that I knew, and the small places that people didn't know, and the small places that my actors knew about. Henry's Tacos, for example, was one of Chris Pine's favorite places.
That place I actually have been to.
Yeah, it's the best.
And the best tacos. If you ever go to LA, you gotta go to there.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I just felt like I wanted to show the LA that I grew up around. That was sort of a smaller, more intimate LA. And LA is a strange city because it's so stratified. There's so many different places and parts of it. There's the beach. There's downtown LA. There's just it sprawls. So I wanted the Valley, and I knew the Valley was a hugely important part of this movie. In some ways, I felt the Valley more than I felt anywhere, even though I didn't grow up in the Valley. Frankie just was from the Valley in my gut. So
Absolutely. I didn't hear that. And the question was, had he been a stage actor before he became a film actor?
Yes, Reagan. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming out. And your friend. You must start breathing soon. Take a sip of your Coke and have an M&M. Thank you for coming out. But yes, my family was in the film business, and I kind of grew up around it. But the first thing I did was on stage in high school, and then I acted in college on stage. And I think, strangely, I think I in many ways prefer doing stage to film. Film is really, it's an odd art form to get used to. The stage is easier because you get to go on stage and play a character for 2 hours, and it makes all the sense in the world. You get to start at the beginning and finish it. They're two completely different mediums, and I do enjoy them both. But yes, anyway, long story long, I started off on stage. Yeah.
So, how did you make that transition from being an on-stage actor to a film actor? Was it hard?
Yeah, it is hard. It is really different. You know, it's a really good question. I think the best piece of advice I ever got for acting was that, you know, most of it is relaxing. And, you know, I got a chance to be in a room while they were hiring people. I got to sat across, I was doing a film, and people were auditioning with me. And it was interesting to see that the people that did the best job weren't always necessarily the people that did the best job with the material. They were the people that did the best job just sitting across from you and relating to you, looking you in the eye, maybe, you know, the line reading or whatever wasn't the best thing in the world, but they were present and really connected. And that is the thing about film. I think the thing that makes film exciting is that it's capturing in real time, like it's capturing. You are not guilty. It's capturing in real time moments. It's just moments of people. And it captures these little things that it could be anything from the twitch of an eye to whatever, to just a little flicker of a smile. And that to be able to relax on, to let go is the hardest thing. And that, I think, on stage you can fake it, but in film you just can't fake it. So that's the hardest. Took a pin.
That's how we got into character.
I became a cutter, yes. That's not funny. Alex and I and myself and the rest of the cast sat down and rehearsed it for a little bit, for a while, in film terms, for like 2 weeks, which is an eternity in film land. And that was, you know, that was a great way to, we talked about everything. I think the most important thing about this, or preparing for it, was that when I come back with Hannah to my house, you have to enter knowing certain things. I mean, there's a certain vibe in that house that is not fun. And Sam doesn't want to be there. Lillian certainly has issues with Sam. There's a relationship that Sam has with Hannah, whether or not he wants to introduce Hannah to his mom, because that's weird. His mom's odd. Everything's shitty. And so it's like, there's knowing specifically where all that landed and what was the last time that we saw each other, and what was that like, and why is it so bad? And when was the last time I was home? And all these little questions that all added up to